the deliberate and systematic extermination of a national, racial, political, or in our case, cultural group, according to dictionary.com. In the 1930s and 40s, innocent Jews were put into concentration camps and killed. Now, in Uganda, gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgendered and heterosexual people fear for their lives as the Ugandan government threatens them with a single piece of paper. A piece of paper that will deliberately and systematically exterminate a cultural group. Over the past 2 months, I've been researching this topic. I've also written a 6-page research paper on it for English class and educated my Gay Straight Alliance on what the anti-homosexuality bill, more commonly known as the Kill the Gays bill, is. This bill cannot be passed because not only will lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgendered people be put to death, but so will innocent heterosexual straight people. Today I'm going to discuss with you the problems that have occurred since this bill has been introduced twice. After that, I'll tell you about what you can do personally to prevent this from happening again, and what we can do as a collective nation to help Uganda with the problems they're faced with currently. Finally, I'll discuss the positive outcomes from making these changes. It is true that this bill has not passed, and it doesn't appear that it's going to pass anytime soon. However, the bill has been brought up twice, and it could be brought up again at any given point in time. The mere introduction to this bill has caused fear among thousands of Ugandan citizens. For example, on January 26, 2011, according to an article written the very next day on the New York Times, David Cato was murdered. He, along with 100 other men, were published in a newspaper article under the title, "Hang Them, They're After Our Kids." Also an event that happened in an interview by Interpress News Agency on December 6, 2012, gay activist Gerald Simpago told IPS News that he is now verbally attacked and his friend was assaulted just because she said she was a lesbian the month prior. He also went on to say that he cannot even own a car anymore because he's afraid that he will be easily identified. There is no law against homosexuality in Uganda, yet people are going out of their way to kill their fellow citizens just because they're gay. According to an article, Kill the Gays, published on December 6, 2012, a heterosexual person can receive up to 3 years in prison for failing to report somebody who's homosexual. This could mean that any heterosexual person could be accused of being gay just because somebody might like them. That would be like Kayla saying that she doesn't like Danny, so she's going to report Danny for being a lesbian. And since you can't prove whether or not Danny is a lesbian, she will more than likely be put to death. So we have all these issues that Uganda is faced with, but how do we go about changing them? And more importantly, how do we prevent this bill from being passed into law? The first thing that needs to be done is education. And I have come up with a plan that I believe will get education to Uganda about the homosexual myths that are surrounded with homosexuality. After reading an article, Myths About Homosexuality, Phil Kill the Gays Bill, published on December 7, 2012 by HuffPost Gay Voices, I discovered that Uganda is simply attempting to annihilate multiple problems at once. They're attempting to kill multiple birds with one stone. They believe that homosexuality is interlinked with sexual predatory tendencies, aka incest, rape, or pedophilia. They also believe that it's interlinked with HIV and AIDS. Another thing they believe is that gay people recruit children, and gay men are attracted to everyone of the same age and gender. And I'm here to tell you that I'm a gay man and I'm not attracted to every man in this room right now. So what we need to do is send volunteer educators to Uganda to educate them not only about homosexuality, but these major problems that Uganda is faced with. In my class survey conducted on February 26, 87% of you agreed that gay rights need to be addressed globally. And 80% of you agreed that this issue needs to be dealt with now. So I did a little bit more research, and I discovered that there are two major petitions that you can sign today online. It takes about 5 minutes to do, it's very simple, it's very easy, and it can make a world of difference. Something as signing a signature can help change the effect that this bill will have. At the end of my speech, I'll hand you each a paper with the URLs to both petitions that you can sign. Next, I'm going to explain the positive outcomes from getting Uganda the education they need and signing these petitions. If Uganda receives education now, we will be saving innocent heterosexual and homosexual people alike. We'll also help Uganda fight the real problems like rape, incest, HIV, and AIDS. Also, people like David Kato, who was murdered, and Gerald Santago, who can't even own a car because he's afraid of being identified, will finally be able to lead normal lives in Uganda. And finally, we will prevent this bill from being introduced a third and final time, and more importantly, being put into law. It is clear that Uganda is faced with many problems. But we have the opportunity to fix all of these problems through means of education and something as simple as signing a petition. If we do, we will create a better world for Uganda, facing multiple problems, not just homosexuality, but all of the other major problems that they're faced with. Genocide. If we had known about the Holocaust, would we have done something to prevent it? Would you have done something personally to prevent it? Well, I'm here to tell you today that you have an opportunity to prevent a future genocide. Do something easy and sign a petition today.